Here's the 10 basics of time-lapse. Check it out. Hi, this is JP Morgan. We're out here at Bryce Canyon National Park. We're going to do some basic time-lapse today using our MyApps mobile device. I just want to do the 10 steps of basic time-lapse. To go through those steps, so as you set up your time-lapse, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and shoot. It'll get you going every single time. So number one, you've got to have an intervalometer, something that's going to trigger your camera. I'm using the MyApps mobile device. I love this little device because it's small, it's easy to put on my camera, and I'm going to run it from my phone. I mean, it's all right there, just like the standard MyApps device, but just give you something mobile and easy to take around and run from your phone, and that's what we love about it. Number two, choose whether you're going to shoot JPEGs or RAWs or both. I always shoot both. I want a JPEG that I can use and look at. It's just a quick way to get to the images, but I want the RAWs for when I get back to the studio. I can sit down, I can process all of my images, I can make them look exactly how I want, and then I can export them into JPEG form to be able to make my final time lapse. So choose what you're going to do. I'm going to do both today, and I'll take the RAW back into the studio to process them. Number three, the exposure triangle. Now, our goal today is not to go into all the different, there's so many different camera settings we could talk about. Camera settings are much different if you're going from day to night or night to day. We're concentrating basically on sunlight, daytime exposure. So set your aperture, your shutter, and your ISO according to your scene. Number four, make sure you set your white balance. If I'm doing from day to night or night to day, I will always do auto white balance. But if I'm in direct sunlight like this, I'll set it on sunlight. Number five, set the interval on your MyApps app. My interval usually is 2 seconds because I like a lot of information. I can throw away every other image later if I want to, but I want to get a lot of information as the sun is changing. But some people go to 4 seconds or longer depending on what you're doing. But it's important that your interval is longer than your shutter speed. If you go into a nighttime scene where you've got a 10-second exposure, or into stars where you're doing 20 seconds, well then your interval's got to be longer than 20 seconds. It's got to be 21 seconds or 22 seconds. So you got to make sure that your interval is longer than your shutter speed. Number six, focus your scene. Either manually focus it or use autofocus on the first frame to get your focus. Number seven, turn the autofocus off if you're using it, because that's going to make your lens jump around in every scene and it's going to make it breathe. You don't want that. Number eight, turn off the VC control on your lens or any kind of compensation for your lens to try to stabilize it. It's going to make your lens breathe and jump around, and again, it's going to make the time lapse start to breathe. You want to get rid of that. Number nine, set how long you want your final time lapse to be. For me, a rule of thumb is 30 seconds. So I know if I need 24 frames a second, I'm going to need at least 24 times 30, which is 720 frames. So if I don't get 720 frames, I'm not going to have 30 seconds of time lapse. If you want your time lapse to be longer, then just calculate that for longer so you know how many frames you need. A lot of times for me, I'm just going to let it roll because I'll get great segments between it. Cloud's looking great here, not quite so good there, got a little better here. So I'll run mine 1,000, 2,000 frames a lot of times. In the MyApps mobile app, I can just go to the basic time lapse, hit my interval at 4 seconds, and then I just leave the number on infinity, which means it'll just go forever. Now I could set that at 720 frames, which means it'll go for that 720 frames, then it'll stop. Number 10, in your menu, you can shut the preview off on the back of your camera if you don't want that preview coming up after every image. It just helps you save battery, and you're going to be able to shoot a lot longer. It's not a must by any means. I leave it on often, but it'll just help you have a little longer battery life if you want. So there's your 10-step reminder for how to set up a time lapse. Now we're going to take these images back in the studio. We're going to process them and create a time lapse on a timeline and see what we shot today. So let's go through the steps on how to process. So Jolene and I got back from Bryce, and now it's time to process all of our time lapses. But before you start this process, calibrate your monitors. If you don't calibrate your monitor, you're going to be looking at the monitor thinking your exposures are correct, your color's correct, and you're really not looking at correct exposure or color. So the Spider 5 is here on our computer from Datacolor. We've calibrated our monitor. It's completely ready to go so that I know that when I set exposure and color, that I'm looking at a correct color exposure at this time. So let's get started. So I'm going to start in Bridge. I like using Bridge. I know everyone loves Lightroom, but I just do a very simple, quick process from Bridge to Photoshop RAW into Premiere. That's those 3 steps. I'm just going to scroll through the front of my images here, and I'm going to find where my first image is. Go about to the middle because that's about where I'm going to hit the JPEGs because I sorted it by kind. And there's the last one. Go into Camera Raw. This is all shot on manual, so our exposure stays the same, but the light's changing quite a bit. But I'm going to come down a little bit to where I start to see some sunlight here come up on my the Bryce, the hoodoos in Bryce. And I'm going to want to correct one of these, something that has some of the sun in it. It's going to be a little closer to what my exposure is going to be. I'll use that kind of as my kind of test image. That's my first step, but it's my big step. What's going to really help me here is I'm going to jump over here to the dehaze in the FX, and I'm going to push the dehaze. And when I push that dehaze up, it's going to give me a much richer color in the sky. It's going to give me a better contrast in the clouds. And I'm going to push it up quite a bit here into like almost 36 or 40%. Now I'm going to go back to my exposure again, and I'm going to play with these one more time. You know, do I want to brighten it up just a little bit, which I will. So I'm going to go up to the spot removal button here because I got a problem on my sensor in this image. You see it right here. So I'm going to use this in healing over here rather than clone. I don't want to use clone, I want to use healing. I'm going to click on this spot right here, and it's going to give me 2 circles there. It disappears, but first off, I'm going to make this one as small as I can. So it's just going to barely cover the spot. I'm going to grab this one, the middle of this one, I'm going to push it in as close as possible. And now that's going to clone out that bad spot on my sensor. And it's going to do it on all the images when I sync these here. Sometimes you get a little funky spot where it goes to the clouds or something because the clouds are moving, but you know, it's going so fast, 24 frames a second, it's not going to be a problem. I zoomed out just a little bit, so now I can take and add a gradient. So I'm going to put a gradient right here. I'm going to put it on the top of this, and just, it gets really heavy on the very top. So I'm going to pull this up so that starts to kind of, it gives me a nice blue up at the corners, but it's not going to push in, make too much of a line. This is just affecting the gradient level. It's not affecting anything else. For this next gradient, I'm going to add one more gradient now, and I'm going to put one in on the bottom down here. I'm going to push this one up for all this red rock. And the reason being is I want to warm up this red rock. Right now it's way too yellow, so I'm going to take some blue out of it, or add some blue to it. So let's look at that side by side with where we started out at. I'd say we've come a long ways here. It's looking very nice. So now I'm going to go over my image over here, the little button on the right corner there. I'm going to put select all, and then I'm going to hit sync settings. Now when this comes up, there's a couple of things on here you got to do. It automatically is going to check everything down to crop, spot removal, and local adjustments. So make sure you hit spot removal and local adjustments. It's going to bring your gradation in and the spotting that we did. So that's going to apply those to all the images. So now the next thing I do is just this. Right underneath my image here, I have save images. So I hit save images. Make sure you select the right folder so it doesn't go off somewhere, wandering around on the computer and dumping a million images. And when I hit save, it's going to transfer all of these images to that folder. 833 remaining. This is going to take a little bit of time. So I was doing these over the weekend. I'd get it set up, get one going, I'd leave and go do something, I'd come back, get another one set up and go and do something. So anyway, so there we are in Premiere. I'm going to open that up, and I now have a project here. Very simple. If I go up here in my import folder, Bryce number 4, I'll select the very first one. And if I look here at options, if I click on options, I got to make sure image sequence is checked, and now it will import this in as an image sequence. And you see up here in the top that it's at 23.97 frames per second, which is what I want, 24 frames a second basically. Now you may bring yours in and it's a different frames per second. So you can right click on this, come down to modify, interpret footage. When the modify clip comes up, you can assume this frame rate. You can click on this right here and you can now change that to 29.9 if you want to, whatever you choose to put in. But we're going to leave this at 23.9, which is 24 frames a second. And now I'm just going to simply drag this, put it onto my timeline. And right there is my time lapse. This is not 16:9 video. This is the entire full res image. It's not cropped. It's giving you the 3:4 there. So it's just a quick way to get it into Premiere so you now can use it in whatever format you're going to use it. I build them on this timeline, all of them. Now I can export them out and nest them and use them in another timeline. So there you have it, the 10 points of time lapse. Bring that on a card or something. It's a great mental thing, a list to go through, because a lot of times I'll roll up, you're in a hurry, you throw your camera up, you want to get it going quickly, and you start doing dumb things like I left it on autofocus. You know, I forgot to set the JPEG, or you start making mistakes. So just go through that list quickly to make sure that everything is ready, and then you can start your time lapse and you'll be successful more times than not. Now this is just the basics of time lapse. I'm not going into shooting day to night or all these kind of other things. Just give yourself a good exposure, multiple exposures, clouds moving, and you'll have a great time lapse. So keep those cameras rolling, keep on clicking. If you want to make the transition from just natural light to strobe light, get our Mastering Studio Strobes download. It's at theslantlens.com. It's going to teach you what strobes you should buy, how to use them, and has all kinds of lighting setups. It'll help you perfect the skill and be using strobes in no time. So get over to theslantlens.com. So subscribe to The Slanted Lens. Put some of your time-lapse up on our Facebook group. We'd love to see the things that you're doing. You can follow us on Instagram, where we have great time-lapses that we're putting there. The BTS is fabulous there. So you kind of see where we're at and what we're up to all the time. Follow us there because we'd love to have you part of our community.